Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Letters to Air. Today, we're talking about something we all need but don't always know how to do: setting boundaries. I'm Q.
And I'm Dee. Today's episode is called Honor Your Boundaries, Protecting Your Peace. Because let's be real, boundaries are the ultimate form of self care. They're not about shutting people out, they're about creating space for what truly matters.
This is one of those lessons that took me a while to learn, but once I did, game changer. Boundaries are how you teach the world to treat you, and more importantly, how you show up for yourself.
So grab your tea and your journal and let's dive into how to honor your boundaries and protect your peace. Let's start with the basics. Boundaries. Boundaries are limits you set for yourself and others to protect your time, energy, and well being. They can be emotional, physical, mental, or even spiritual.
And they're not just about saying no, they're about saying yes to what aligns with your values. Boundaries are how you make space for the things that matter most to you.
But let's be honest, setting boundaries isn't always easy. A lot of us were raised to believe that putting ourselves first is selfish, especially as women.
But here's the truth: boundaries aren't selfish, they're necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't show up fully for others if you're constantly neglecting yourself.
For me, the hardest boundaries to set were emotional ones. I used to take on everyone's problems: family, friends, coworkers. If someone needed something, I was there, even if it meant neglecting my own needs. The breaking point came when I realized I was burnt out and resentful. I felt like I was giving everything and getting nothing in return. That's when I started setting boundaries, not to push people away, but to create balance. It wasn't easy at first. I felt guilty for saying no. But over time, I realized that honoring my boundaries wasn't just good for me, it was good for my relationships too. When I showed up for myself, I was able to show up for others in a healthier, more authentic way.
That's so powerful. And it's a reminder that boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about protecting your peace. For me, the challenge was setting boundaries in my personal relationships. I've always been a giver, it's just who I am. But there were times when I was giving too much to the point where I felt drained and unappreciated. The wake up call came when I realized I was saying yes out of obligation, not out of love. I started having honest conversations with the people in my life, letting them know what I could and couldn't do. And let me tell you, some of those conversations were tough, but the result? Freedom. My relationships became more balanced, and I learned how to give from a place of abundance, not emptiness.
And that is so real. And it's proof that setting boundaries is an act of love for yourself and for the people you care about. So, how do we honor our boundaries? Step one is getting clear on what your boundaries are. Take some time to reflect on where you feel drained and resentful. That's often a sign that a boundary is needed.
Step two is communicating your boundaries. Be clear and direct, but also kind. Use I statements like, I need some time for myself this weekend, or I can't take that on right now.
Step three is staying consistent. People may test your boundaries, especially if they're used to you saying yes all the time. But remember, every time you honor your boundaries, you reinforce your worth.
And step four, let go of guilt. Setting boundaries isn't about being selfish, it's about being whole. You're allowed to put yourself first. Here's your challenge for the week. Think about one area in your life where you need a boundary. Maybe it's with your time, your energy, or even your phone. Write it down and take one small step towards setting that boundary this week.
And as always, if you feel like sharing, DM us, email us, or tag us on social media. We'd love to hear about your journey and celebrate your wins with you.
All right, let's close it out with our reflection. To I, air, and her. To I. This week I've learned that setting boundaries is an act of self-love and self-respect. To air. I hope for a future where we honor our needs without guilt or hesitation. To her, the version of me who struggled. I've grown by learning that I don't have to say yes to prove my worth. I am enough. Take this with you. Boundaries are how you teach the world to respect you and how you show yourself that you matter. Honor them.
Until next time, stay strong, stay centered, and keep protecting your peace.
And remember, you deserve relationships and spaces that nourish you. Start by honoring yourself.